Hi, Claire and James here. Just before we get stuck into this week's episode, we wanted to let you know the exciting news that the Midlife Reset audit is now live. This is a first of its kind personalised diagnostic tool designed for midlifers by midlifers.
In just 3 minutes, the audit will help you pinpoint what's really holding you back from living your healthiest, happiest midlife, and most importantly, provide tailored strategies on how to take back control. Midlife doesn't have to be a time of uncertainty. It can be an era of growth, discovery, and well-being. So to go ahead and take the audit, go to themidlifementors.com/audit.
In November, research was released that showed the average age at which candidates are considered too old for job roles is 57. This ties in with what we've heard anecdotally working with organisations and clients, that ageism is now a significant issue in the workplace.
We have an ageing population and an increasing lifespan, with many people happy to work beyond retirement. So how do we foster a more age-inclusive work culture? In this episode, we dive into the shocking stats around age and work, look at the benefits of having an age-diverse workforce, dispel some myths around older workers, and look ahead to what organisations can be doing to help create a more age-inclusive culture. Hi, I'm James Davis.
And I'm Claire Davis.
We're the Midlife Mentors, here to lift the lid on how to achieve health and happiness.
The balanced, no-nonsense way.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Midlife Mentors with me, James.
And me, Claire. I was just yawning as you turned that on.
And I am slightly snotty. It is that time of year, isn't it?
I was just yawning. I do feel like it's Friday today. It is Thursday, isn't it?
Thursday.
It is Thursday. Guys, we're ever so sorry. We missed out a week.
We missed another one.
I know. Oh, we don't want to feel bad about it. We are putting out this amazing content, weekly for years and years and years. As we're going into Christmas, we're allowed to do them every couple of weeks.
Also, we've been very busy.
We have been very busy. You've had a birthday.
I've had a birthday, yes, which was amazing.
Lola, our dog, has had a birthday.
We went to a Leaders in Health conference. We've been delivering workshops on andropause, on menopause, on all kinds of things. Yeah, a lot of corporate work has been keeping us busy. And of course, that means we're rushing here, there and everywhere as well.
Yeah, which is going to lead us on to the conversation we're going to have today, which is all around ageism in the workplace, actually. I'm really excited to talk about this. And this has very, very much come about from the conversations we've been having for years and years and years with our clients, so like our one-to-one clients and people on our group program. But also, as we're entering the corporate world, a lot more and doing more stuff around that, we're really noticing the whole ageism stuff coming up for lots of people, and conversations being had with people over 45, over 50, kind of really struggling with ageism in the workforce, actually in their jobs, but also not being able to get jobs or change jobs.
Yeah, I mean, I think as well, we've been talking about this for a while. We've actually been speaking to some people in this space. We're figuring out at the moment what we can do there, right? But there's a really big walk to ahead, because the job site Total Jobs actually have done a massive bit of research with the University of Kent, and they've released all that just at the end of November. And it's quite staggering, some of the stats. We're going to take you through those.
And now because we have been talking about this between ourselves actually for a while, and like I said, having those conversations with clients, with friends that are our age. And then this piece of research kind of came out and our ears pricked up, and we were like, oh, we need to dive into that. And actually, like James said, the stats are staggering. And we do genuinely believe that this will resonate with you guys out there, our audience. If you're an entrepreneur over the age of 50, it will still resonate for you. But particularly those people that are over 50 in the workforce, those people that might have sadly been made redundant and trying to find another job, or you're trying to shift into another job, another career. I do really feel that some of the experiences you have will be talked about throughout this podcast.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm just excited to dive into it, really.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that the data from this survey is fascinating. And like Claire's saying, we've been like getting anecdotal bits, right, from conversations we have within organizations, conversations we have with people. We meet recruitment consultants as well. They just say that I just can't place older people, you know, the flag that's used.
We're not even old.
Too experienced. Well, this is the other thing. This is the flip side. You know, we're all about our health optimization, our performance optimization. And the fact is that, you know, we are living longer. So if we wanted to, our working life could be a lot longer as well. So it's kind of alarming. And I'm going to go to the most alarming stat in a minute. But by the time we're in our mid-50s, the working world is considering that it's game over.
And actually, some people are only just getting started. I saw this amazing post the other day on Instagram with a woman who's 60 and she's just launched her own business and it's doing really, really well. I think it might be Midlife Fashion or something. And she's like, people are saying that over 50, it's all downhill, especially entrepreneurs in the workforce, blah, 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 blah. I'm only just getting started. Quite frankly, I feel like I'm only just getting started. There's a whole new wave of stuff that's going on for us. And so, like James said, we really do champion that midlife is a time to reinvent yourself. It is a beautiful time. It can be a very challenging, difficult time with our, you know, life pressures, hormone pressures, all that kind of stuff. But it also is a time where we do reevaluate what makes us happy. Our values change. We generally become more creative. We kind of think, hang on a minute, what's going to make me happy, and start doing the things that will make us happier, and that includes our career. So it is quite shocking that age discrimination is not really being talked about enough. And actually at work, I would say this is one of the highest forms of discrimination that isn't being talked about. Everyone's talking about everything else, but not this. And so that's why we're championing this conversation on this podcast, and watch this space, because we are going to be talking about it more and more. What that looks like, don't necessarily completely know, but it's important to talk about it.
It is. So how this is going to roll is we're going to talk you through some of the stats so you get an idea of what the landscape looks like. Then we're going to build the case for why age-inclusive workplaces are beneficial to both the individual and the corporation, and then finish up with some guidelines and tips. Probably, I guess, more aimed at the corporate market, what they can be doing to help foster a more age-positive, multi-generational workplace.
Yeah. Do you want to go ahead and? I think this is the most shocking.
So yeah, we wrote an article for a magazine a while back. I'm not sure if it's been out yet actually. So we're looking at some older research, and this comes from there, and that was that over 50s are 17% more likely to face redundancy than younger workers. So there's already an increased redundancy risk there. In the UK, we have an ageing population, so nearly a third of workers are going to be age 50 or over by 2025. Yeah. That's 11 million people
so
just in the UK. And then from this total job survey, this is shocking. So they researched the age at which candidates are considered too old for job roles, and that age is 57. So that discounts 4.2 million people in England and Wales alone, and represents 138 billion pounds in economic output. But yeah, if you're 57 or over, you are too old for a job role. These are the people, these decision makers, these are recruitment consultants. They now think 57 is too old. A third of our over 50s worry that they're going to struggle to find work due to that age discrimination. And here's a shocking one as well. 42% of HR decision makers have experienced pressure to hire younger candidates. Again, that's putting this bias against older candidates. It's really, really shocking.
As a result, this is going on the research as well. As a result, over a fifth, so 22% of over 50s feel compelled to omit their age from their CVs. But I have to say, I do know this from talking to recruiters. AI now shifts through a lot of CVs, right? So it doesn't matter whether you don't put your age on your CV, and I don't think you necessarily have to and should feel compelled to, not at all. But it's going to look back over your first roles, right? So if you were starting to work in the mid-90s... Which you
put dates on.
Yeah, mid-90s, obviously they're going to be thinking, okay, hang on, that's persons of a certain age. And AI sifts through that stuff and will literally just get rid of it automatically if it looks like you started work at a certain point in your life. So that's quite shocking as well. And a quarter... 25% hesitate to apply for jobs that they anticipate a potential bias about their age as well. So for those aged 50 and over who have changed jobs in the past 3 years or who are currently job hunting, several key challenges emerge, again, from this research that came out at the end of November. 20% have faced inappropriate age-related questions. 22% were asked unsuitable questions about their health and physical capabilities, like, oh, you're too old to do this job. You know, how terrible is that? 26% were presumed to struggle with new technologies. Again, super offensive. And nearly a third, 31%, felt workplace culture favoured younger applicants. You see what's going on here? These are shocking. And workers over the age of 50... this also surprised me. This isn't from this piece of research. It was from when James was saying about the article that we wrote for a certain magazine. It hasn't come out yet. But workers over the age of 50 were half as likely to receive additional off-the-job training than those employees aged 18 to 29. So they're just being forgotten. They're not even receiving that additional off-the-job training. And again, this is shocking as well. Can't believe this. Over half of the UK businesses do not have an age diversity strategy. I'm just going to leave that there for a moment. Like, mic drop. Hang on a minute. You've got all these strategies around other things, you know, inclusivity, but you haven't got anything around age diversity. And again, the final one here is 3 in 4 employees over 55 are willing to work beyond retirement age. So you've got a whole swathe of people there that want to work and feel compelled to work and passionate about carrying on working.
But are unable to.
Yeah.
And this is actually borne out by other research. So while employment rates bounce back post-pandemic, those in the 50-64 have seen a much slower recovery in job roles than those who are younger. Again, down to systemic discrimination, limited workplace flexibility. So, but why should we employ older people? What are we missing out on? Well, there's a whole massive case for this. The first one is economic participation. So people between 35 and 49, 86% are employed, but that drops to 71% between 50 to 64. These are people that could work. So again, we're missing out on increased productivity there. There's missed talent. You know, there's around just shy of 500,000 people, 50 to 64, who want to work, but face barriers like hiring biases and lack of flexible roles. And again, there's a wealth of untapped expertise and reliability. I think this comes to the thing, we're talking about older workers. They do have this expertise. I did see another bit of research that said that older workers are much less likely to job swap. They're likely to be more loyal to the company.
Yeah.
Because they've kind of been around the house and know what they've got. They're not like looking for the next thing. If you're going out on your own, this is an interesting one for the VC companies out there. Because again, VCs tend to focus on younger founders. Yeah. Shocking, actually. We've been looking into this. So I think a few years ago, there were some initiatives for founders 50 and above, but they've all disappeared. So VCs are very focused on 20, 30-year-old founders. But here's a shocking stat. Founders over 50 have an almost double, it's 1.8 times business success rate compared to younger founders.
And why do we think that is? It's life experience, right?
Yeah.
And that kind of leads on to the next point, which is about unofficial social currency. So what do we mean by that? Okay, this is really important to remember that it's not just about productivity in the sense of the output. It's those soft skills, and they shouldn't really be called soft skills because they're not soft skills. They're very, very important in the working environment. That actually older people that have been around the block for a little while are going to know how to get things done beyond certain set processes. So it's about building relationships, knowing who to go to. All of that not spoken stuff is so, so important. And actually, just as a segue here, this is one of the things they found about the hybrid working environment that so many people are finding themselves in right now. Because we're not in the office so much, those younger generations aren't necessarily learning through osmosis and actually watching their older colleagues, how they deliver certain things, who they go to, how they manage certain different relationships and processes in the organisation. Because they're not there on a daily basis watching these people. I remember when I was at work, this is how I learn. I would watch my bosses and think, okay, that's how they're doing it. And I would learn on the job from them, watching them, being near them. And that seems to be missing, particularly since COVID, when people aren't in the office so much. But also, this is one of the many things that us with more experience under our belt, we know how to do these things and we can pass it. There's a real talent that's being lost, that's not being passed down to the younger generations in work, because that's being overlooked. And that's really, that only comes with age, that only comes with experience.
And the other thing is, I think there's a misconception about cost saving. So I get it, when companies are looking to cut costs, they may look at the most senior levels and go, well, if we get rid of these people, that's going to save us a lot of our wage bill. But here's the thing, you're losing a lot of experience there, and people underestimate what the cost of staff turnover is. So, an entry-level employee will cost between 30 to 50% of their annual salary to replace. So, if you've got someone on 30 grand a year, then it's going to cost maybe like 10 to 15 grand to replace them. But if you've got someone on a high level, that cost is around 200%, and it can go as high as 400%. So that's something that I think we need to consider. What's the opportunity cost of letting someone go? Yeah, it might seem like you're making a quick saving off your cost base, but what's the long-term loss there? So those are some of the economic, cultural, societal arguments. There's a number of myths about older workers. So I think, again, it's the one last area where stereotypes are allowed to continue to exist. They can't adapt to new technology, or they don't know how to work the Facebook. They're discounted, but in fact, these older workers, they bring critical thinking, they bring mentorship capabilities, they've got a strong work ethic, they often drive higher organizational stability and lower turnover rates. So there are big pluses to both retaining your older employees and make sure you're attracting older employees to your roles as well.
So true.
Yeah, what are the solutions for an age-inclusive workplace? So this is for the organizations out there listening. We've got to start taking steps to foster inclusivity in age. And I think the first one is flexibility. So, look at how people need to be set up for where they are in their life. Are there part-time or hybrid roles that ensure older workers can balance their professional and personal responsibilities?
Yeah, and the next one is skills development. I know I mentioned this earlier, but training programs need to be tailored and developed for all ages. We can't just assume that those people of a certain age don't need training. There's no point in training them. Oh, they won't understand technology. They won't understand advancement. No, we really, really need to be making sure that we're including all ages to help older employees feel engaged, stay competitive. I think that whole skills development thing, the research around that was quite shocking.
Yeah. Ensure you've got bias-free hiring. So make sure you revisit your job descriptions and interview practices so you can help eliminate unintended age biases. You always see on job applications, don't you, that you need 8+ years experience of this thing, which is fair enough, for the job role. But there's the unspoken, but if you've got more than 20 years, don't bother applying. We need to start rethinking this. And it reminds me of someone we know who works in marketing. They love what they do. They're very, very successful, but they're just having a career break at the moment. And they saw a role in a bookshop and thought, that'd be fun. I'll do that for a little bit over Christmas because I love books, love talking to people. They wouldn't even get an interview for it. And this breaks my heart. This is happening all the time, over and over in multiple roles.
Another thing is something around supportive policies. So there have been so many initiatives around menopause policy and awareness programs and wellbeing to really foster that more inclusive environment for midlife women. But I'm not even going to get into how we can also be supporting midlife men. James is doing a lot around that. He is going into organisations talking about the andropause, which is amazing. But I suppose there is, hopefully, by doing this whole menopause stuff and the andropause stuff, there is a little bit more awareness of what midlife people are going through and also the benefits that they can bring to the working environment.
I think the next thing is look into your organisation about how you can foster that intergenerational culture and communication. Because something we hear a lot is there's often quite a rift there, and the age groups, the generations can be quite far apart. How can you look at building them close together. How can you build those communication structures, build that more inclusive culture so everyone respects what each other is bringing and feels they can have those open paths of communication and be more successful?
Yeah, that mentorship and coaching. This is a big one as well. Ensure value-centered leadership. So kind of mapping corporate values to personal values where appropriate. And this is particularly important at midlife because our values have changed. We say this a lot. Values have changed when we get into midlife. So actually not discounting that, making sure that there is fulfillment actually for midlife leaders. That way you're more likely to retain your talent, attract that kind of talent because actually they feel the values are much more important to us at midlife. So if you're kind of looking at those and making sure that that age group is fulfilled in the right way, then that's going to obviously positively impact you economically as well because you're retaining and then attracting.
So the final point is obviously make sure you have a DEI strategy that includes age positivity. And to me, it's staggering that half the companies don't have that in place.
Don't see it as important.
It's just mind blowing that we don't. So you can see there the kind of scale of the problem, and it is a big problem, and it's only going to get worse if we have an aging population who are willing to be economically active and who have a lot to offer. So I think we need to start thinking about how we can be more inclusive from an age perspective, because there's benefits to the individual, to society, to culture, and to the organisation. You can help drive profits, drive productivity.
And to the generations below. You know, we have a lot of experience. We have a lot of problem-solving skills that only comes with age. And I think there's a big gap there that's being missed. And that's what we're hearing, isn't it?
Exactly. So I hope you enjoyed that. This is one where we actually would love to hear your thoughts. So drop us an email, team@themidlife.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you experienced ageism, do you think?
Yeah.
Have you experienced ageism?
I think so many of us have.
If you're running an organisation, we'd love to hear from you. Like, what are you doing to foster age positivity in your organisation?
Do you think it's important, actually? I would really like to know, actually, if you think, oh, I get what they're saying. I get what they're saying. It is a big deal. And, you know, we don't have a DEI strategy around age positivity and inclusivity, but actually it's not really on our radar and it's not really going to matter. That's okay. We'd love to hear. We want to start opening up and changing the narrative around this conversation. That's why we're doing this podcast. That's why we're having conversations with people, because to us it seems like a big problem, something that really, really needs to be looked into and the narrative being changed around it. But yeah, we'd love to hear from businesses, individuals, just to keep on this conversation and grow it, really. Cool.
Yes.
Excellent.
Okay. Wishing you a great week, and we will endeavour to get another one out.
Yes, we will.
Next week. Yeah, definitely, you're definitely going to hear from us before Christmas.
Brilliant. Okay, sending lots of love. Bye.
Yeah.
You've been listening to the Midlife Mentors with Claire and James Davis.
We'd love to hear from you. So drop us a line at info@themidlifementors.com with any questions or topic suggestions.
And make sure you join us on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. You can find us under the Midlife Mentors.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode. And don't forget to take the Midlife Reset Audit now to receive personalised insights into what's holding you back from living your healthiest, happiest midlife. So go ahead and take the audit now at themidlifementors.com/audit.